Hi guys, good morning. This is Saurabh Maheshwari. I've been a banker for over 19 years now. I've been assessing business for a living for the last 19 years. First 10 years spent as a lender, working with different banks, and the next 9 years spent as a consultant. Now, when I look at the numbers and businesses and assess those businesses, whether it is from a lending perspective or taking up a consulting assignment perspective, people often ask me, what is that one magic number I look at, which can tell me whether a business is doing good or bad? I often tell them it's a very simple number, it's a very simple ratio, the inventory turnover ratio. And most of them don't really believe me when I say it's the inventory turnover ratio. Now, why is this inventory turnover ratio so important and why does it reveal so much? Is something what we will discuss in this video. So now let's look at this inventory turnover ratio in a little more detail. What are those magic things it tells me, which maybe you as a general businessman or a layman may not be able to see? Let's define it first. It's essentially defined as the number of times a company sells and buys stock during a given period. For example, I may have a stock worth a couple of crore rupees and I rotate it 6 times a year. And some other company rotates it 2 times a year. That means it sells its entire stock either 2 or 6 times a year and buys it back again to restock his or her business. That's this different inventory turnover number. Now, what does it reveal? A very high turnover, which is, let's say, a business is rotating its stock 7 or 8 times a year, tells me two things. Two things. One, a high turnover means the company has a very, very strong sales force. It is able to sell its goods in the market. The market is wanting more and more, and the sales force is doing a good job. Or alternatively, on the flip side, it might also mean that company needs to invest a little more in stock and it may face a situation of stock outages maybe on a slightly more regular basis. So that is one way. That is again a good thing to have because stock outages mean there is more demand for your goods than normal you can supply. On the other hand, a low turnover, what does it indicate? It indicates two things. One, the company, stock, or products are not really wanted in the market. Or, second thing which indicates that even if the stock is in demand and you're not able to sell or supply, then there's something seriously wrong with your selling strategies and your sales team. In both the cases, it is a revealing number. So, what does data say? Now, this is my assumption, right? I'm saying this out of whatever I have learned over experience. Does the data support it? So, what I did was I took the data of 109 listed companies in the auto ancillary space in India, and this is what I found. The average inventory turnover for the 109 listed companies was a little over 5 times a year, and their ROCE was about 14 times. The bottom 10% companies had the inventory turnover at a little over 1 time, and their ROCE dropped from a 14 average to 5, a little over 5. Look at the companies in the top 10% in quartile of inventory turnover. They rotated their inventory 15 times a year, and their ROCE had crossed 21. So that simply means that companies which have a better inventory turnover, a better sales force, a better yield will earn more not only for themselves but for their shareholders. So what should can you as a businessman do when you look at your own business? Three simple things. One, first find out where you are, what your inventory turn is. Second, if it is low, which is a big issue, you need to do two things. Inventory, you have dead inventory, you need to sell that quickly, deep discounting at a loss, but liquidate that, convert that into cash. Two, With that cash, stock up on items which you can sell. Secondly, have a very, very hard look at your sales system and your sales team. Is it dependent only on you as an individual, or do you have a proper sales channel? Is it over dependent on one particular supplier, customer, or do you have a list of customers? So have a look, very hard look at your sales channels and improve your sales processes and systems. And lastly, whether it is low or high, you should always and always strive to improve your inventory turnover. If you are doing 6 times, improve it to 10 or 8. If you're doing 2, then of course go down to 6 and 7. That's what you should strive for. With that, this is Saurabh signing off. If you really like this content, then do hit subscribe and we hit connect with us on our YouTube channels. Put an email with your queries and we'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much.